Hey, 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 welcome in episode 9, Don't Spill the Mixie podcast, alongside my co-host, Maverick, Matt Veneman. Matt, how we doing tonight?
Not too bad, Big Red. Long weekend, a lot of volleyball, a lot of sun. We were just talking before we got on. I took a few blocks right off the face. Got the points though, so I may be partially concussed, but we'll see how this goes by the end of the episode. A little headache, a little dehydration, but you know what? We are doing good, my friend, and it is a blessing to be here on episode 9 with you.
Nothing a little mixie can't fix. What do we got in the cup tonight?
What we got in the cup today? We got a little Knickerbocker gin and sugar-free tonic. Got to keep those low calories. What about you, my friend?
I'm drawing a blank right now. The blue can stuff. Why am I blanking?
Oh,
Maybe I
Coors
have a
Light,
concussion.
baby.
No, not what's wow, this is terrible podcasting.
The blue
My gin
cans.
drink.
Long drink.
Long drink, yeah. That was painful. Holy
Hey,
moly.
we got there and added a couple extra seconds, so we're good to go.
With an extra splash of gin too. I had double shot of gin in here. Maybe that's what's
Ooh,
bringing
nice.
me up or down.
Both got the gin tonight. Well, cheers to episode 9, my friend. It's a
To
pleasure
episode
as
9.
always.
To
Episode
better
9.
podcasting here going forward.
Hey, Big Red, before you get into the normal breakdown, just want to recap last week's podcast. Just again, shout out to Reggie. Appreciate him jumping on, and also appreciate all of the feedback and the followers and the listens that we got on the podcast and on social media. It was by far doubled up our best episode yet, so very much appreciate you all listening. I know it's just Redford and I started a goofy podcast, just him and I talking, and it's a blessing just to talk to him for an hour once a week. But to be able to interact with you all and our friends is a blessing as well. And we're going to try to get more of you on, and just wanted to shout you out as well and appreciate you giving us an hour plus of your time each week, whether it's in the background or on the car ride or whatever it is. Just very much appreciate you listening and giving us feedback and helping us along as we start this journey.
Absolutely. Everybody giving us feedback on a week-to-week basis, and we're glad that we have a few people out there that really enjoy it. So that's the point. We enjoy doing it, and we're glad that there's a few of you out there that enjoy listening for sure. So we're going to keep doing it as long as we keep having fun. That's kind of the goal. So,
Exactly.
And it seems like as long as we're having fun, it seems like it's enjoyable for you guys out there too. So we're going to keep motoring right along, keep doing our thing. We're going to talk about stuff that interests us. And like you said, our goal is to have a lot of guests on. It's a lot more fun when we have that third level of interaction. So hearing people's stories and diving into some of that stuff. We got some really cool stuff in the hopper. We don't have anybody coming up this week. Unfortunately, we didn't have anybody that was willing to jump on this weekend for us. So I think we already got one lined up for next weekend. So next week we should have a pretty cool one. Good story there as long as that plays out. I think that one's going to be pretty cool too. So then we got some other cool ones that are in the works. We're trying to line up dates and everything for recording, stuff like that. So if you want to be on the podcast and you are a friend of the show, reach out.
Definitely.
We're all about that.
It can be serious. We can get in depth. We can just be goofy and have fun. A little teaser. We have some folks on that are going to be helping us talk some hoops that have some real life experience in potentially some college and a little bit of pro. And then we have some that are going to come on and talk a little stick, a little golf with us on those weeks. So very excited to have those folks on there. And then we got a few others lined up. So just again, wanted to give the folks that are listening a quick shout out and tell you how much we appreciate you.
Yep, absolutely. So let's dive in here. We'll get cranking with this week's episode. We're gonna do rapid fire, and then we're gonna wrap it up with something a little bit different. Again, a little top 5 list, quick fantasy draft. We'll finish up with we kind of did this one off the cuff. Top 5 sci-fi or top 5 underrated sci-fi movies. So
Sci-fi.
kind of our favorite maybe cult classics. So we'll dive into this. We'll do it fantasy draft style. So we're going to start with our best, and then we'll go in reverse from there. So, and we'll kick things off. Let's start with WWE. We got Money in the Bank coming up this coming weekend, Saturday the 7th, I believe, if my
Yep,
dates are correct.
that's Rudy's birthday. My dad. I'm flying him down here this weekend for that. So hopefully it's his birthday, so it's up to him. But hopefully he'll be able to watch a little Money in the Bank with me.
Shout out Rudy, big fan of the pod. He
Definitely,
turns 49 this weekend. So,
exactly. He's only 9 years older than me.
man, it's amazing how he did that. But we love
Exactly.
Rudy. So shout out him. You guys are going to have a blast this week. So we'll start with WWE. That's on Saturday. Money in the Bank is. NBA Finals and Stanley Cup Finals are set now too. So we're going to breeze through those real quick. Obviously, going to take us a little bit less to cover those because now there's only 2 teams left in each. So we'll dive into that. But first, let's kick it off with some WWE chatter. Before we get into Money in the Bank, some breaking news today, Sunday. R-Truth no longer with WWE. Thoughts, comments, reactions?
Ron Cena. I get it. He wasn't a mainstay on there necessarily. I mean, he's been on there for a while, don't get me wrong, but he was never on a consistent basis on Monday Night Raw or on Friday Night SmackDown. While I was at volleyball, I did see that, and I was reading through some comments that a lot of people are sad about it. Just an overall good guy, overall good character. He brought comedy to there when there wasn't a lot of comedy. His entrance theme where what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up. I'm going to miss that a lot. My guess is he'll pop up somewhere. He may head over to one of the other shows. He may ever head over
AEW
to
or something?
AEW or TNA or something like that. So I believe he'll pop up somewhere. I did read where The Miz was a little sad as well because he said his favorite tag team was the Awesome Truth. And then they ended up, I think, the WrestleMania in Philadelphia, so not this past one, but the one before, they ended up winning the tag team titles. So, yeah, it's a little sad. I'm going to miss R-Truth. I get it from a WWE standpoint, from a contract and salary and all that kind of stuff, but shout out to R-Truth, so I'm glad you brought that up.
I didn't realize he had been with the company for 17 years, so heck of a run.
Yeah, he's in his 50s. I didn't think he looked that old. I looked it up today. I think he's in his 50s, mid 50s.
No, he looks pretty good. Still gets around pretty well too. So shout out to him. The other one that's departing a lot less noteworthy. Carlito is also leaving WWE reportedly. So adios, bro.
Yeah. I spit in the face. That was his only thing, was he chewed the apple and spit the apple in somebody's face. Classic. But again, it gets old soon. He ends up leaving and coming back quite a bit. So it'll be interesting to see who they replace him with on the Judgment Day. Probably somebody that pops up at this weekend's Money in the Bank, I would guess.
Yeah, they'll sponge up somebody here pretty quick. So with that, we'll pivot over to. There's obviously still a little bit left to be set with Raw tomorrow night, Monday night, and then SmackDown on Friday night. There'll be a little bit of moving parts and pieces for Saturday's matchups. There's still a little bit of TBD hanging out there for these. Most of the card for Saturday is set, though. So we think this isn't set in stone with order yet either, but what we believe will be the opener will be the tag team match from Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso against Logan Paul and John Cena. I'm pretty excited for this one. This will be Rhodes' first in-ring bout since WrestleMania, so I think that'll be pretty cool. Getting him back in the mix. And Uso and Logan Paul are always pretty exciting too. They're big, high-energy guys. So, and with Cena and the hate there, and everybody loves Cody Rhodes, so the energy will be absolutely electric, I think, to kick this one off. I think it's going to be buzzing.
Yeah, definitely. You have the 2 top heels and the 2 top baby faces in the company right now tagging up. Part of me thinks there's going to be something crazy that happens. Either Cody Rhodes turns heel or something like that and ends up turning on Jey Uso and says he wants his belt back. I don't know. Part of me does feel like that's going to happen, but then that would be real bad for the WWE if he ended up turning heel along with Cena, because those two are probably the 2 biggest baby faces at the time. But I agree. I think this should be an electric match.
I think it's only I don't think it's going to be this matchup because there's not a title on the line or anything like this, but it's very soon. I think it's Maybe it happens SummerSlam. We'll see. But Logan Paul is going to get his hands on a belt again shortly.
Oh, definitely.
He's too big of a star. He's too big of a name, and they're paying him too much. So
Hmm.
they're going to write him back into a title match here before too long, and he's going to get his hands on something. Whether this somehow spins into a one-on-one with him and Jay, and he ends up taking that, or he ends up pivoting to the Intercontinental, something along those lines. So it's only a matter of time before he gets his hands on one, I think.
Yeah, my guess is it'll probably be the Intercontinental first. Uh, but they are teeing up something that's going to happen between him, Gunther, and Jey Uso. Something's going to go down between the three of them. But it'll be interesting to see how they develop that storyline. I'm looking forward to that.
Yep, yep. What we think will be the next one after that is the WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship match. This one piques your interest a little bit. Lyra Valkyria versus the man, Becky Lynch.
Yep, this is Becky Lynch's time. She needs to take this, at least for a short period of time. They need her as one of the faces for the Divas division or the women's division, the old Divas division, but the women's division now. Big Becky Lynch fan, big the man fan, so I'll be rooting for her. Lyra is very good as well, so can't go wrong with these two. I just think the third match, something's got to give, and the something that hasn't given yet is the man taking the belt. So I'm gonna go with that and try to hopefully that's my call that prediction once and for all. I'm 0 for 2, so hopefully I'm not gonna be batting 0 for 3 by the end of Saturday.
Lyra's just not a needle mover either. That's the other thing. Like
Yeah.
nobody's buying any of her swag. So I think this is a no-brainer to get Becky in there because nobody's really that excited that Lyra is currently holding a belt, in my opinion. So this one seems like a no-brainer. Becky's going to take that one over. What we believe will be the next one will be the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. So that one is currently, there's one spot left that I believe, not believe, it will be settled here either Raw or SmackDown this week. So it's currently Julia versus Roxanne Perez versus Rhea Ripley versus Alexa Bliss versus Naomi versus the TBD spot. Who we got?
Yeah. My heart says Alexa Bliss, just because 5 Feet of Fury. She has always been one of my favorites. My head tells me there's no way Rhea Ripley loses this unless the fifth spot is filled by somebody absolutely ridiculous. They need Rhea. Same with the man. They need Rhea to be one of the faces of that division, and she is that division is much better when she holds the belt. I just think overall, just her character and the way she portrays everything and the way she carries herself is just second to none. I was never a big Rhea fan, but she's grown a lot on me. So my heart says Alexa, but my head says Rhea's definitely going to win this going away.
I'm gonna shake things up. I'm gonna say because I feel like Money in the Bank is WWE's, like they do some wild stuff and have some wild decisions normally. But I feel like Money in the Bank, they can get really weird and quirky with things. I'm gonna go Naomi with this one.
No,
I think she sneaks in there and grabs it. Uh, just because, like, we've seen a bunch of times in the past where somebody random does win Money in the Bank and then they cash it in real quick for a super fast matchup to win a title belt. So quirky things like that do happen. So I think Naomi snags it in this one.
yeah.
Uh,
To your point, I wouldn't be surprised now that you mentioned that. That is a good call. That they like to put a lot of new faces, and especially some up and coming ones that wouldn't have a chance. Not that they're necessarily giving them a title bout. So Roxanne Perez just being signed to the roster from NXT is also interesting in this one. She has a pretty big following coming over from NXT. So to your point, I wouldn't be surprised if she also has a shot in this.
it might be a way for him to get Alexa Bliss back in the mix too. So
Yeah.
this one, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if any of them win it. Kind of all bets are off with Money in the Bank. It could go any way because I feel like a lot of times it's somebody disappears early on from the match and then a bunch of mayhem happens and a bunch of stuff happens and then somebody that you totally forgot was even in the matchup runs up the runs up the ladder, snags it, and then they disappear. So I feel like Alexa Bliss has won it before too, hasn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's won it once before.
Um, so we'll see what happens there. I'm still going Naomi. I think she sneaks up the ladder and snags it and disappears into the back, and then holds it for a while. So, and then the headliner we believe will be the men's Money in the Bank match. This one, again, one spot TBD, but Solo Sikoa versus LA Knight versus Seth Rollins versus Penta versus Andrade versus the TBD spot.
Yeah, this is gonna be a good one. This is another one, right? To your point, they normally go off the cuff with this. If they don't, my head says Seth Rollins wins just because of the whole setup with him and Bronson and Braun Breaker and Heyman. But that may not also make the most sense because he's going to get a title shot no matter what, just because he has Paul Heyman as in his corner, and Paul Heyman guys always get title matches. I am torn. The only one I'm not a huge fan of in this is Solo Sikoa. Penta.
Yeah, I don't want him to win.
Penta is going to do something electric in this match. He is a high flyer, just all over the place. I think I've mentioned it before on other shows where I love Penta. I've never been a big into the luchadors and that kind of stuff, but this dude is legit. I don't know how much you've watched of him, but he's going to do something crazy off some ladder through somewhere. My guess is by doing that, he's going to take himself out. I would also like to see LA Knight in there as well. Again, I'll go. Heart says LA Knight. Head says Seth Rollins in this one.
You stole my thunder there. I am 100% going all in on LA Knight. I want him to win. I want him to have a title match. I think that would be so much fun. He brings the juice. He's a needle mover for me. So I'm going all in there. I hope he wins. My second favorite pick would be Penta, like you mentioned. I'm not a big fan, like you said, of the mask. The mask doesn't do anything for me, and it's hard. I think it's hard to get behind somebody in the mask. Like, I feel like those people generally don't have that big of a following for regular WWE fans. So normally I wouldn't root for that. But he's electric. Like he just throws his body around like crazy.
He is. He'll be around for a while if he doesn't get hurt. But
like he is.
Like I said, he's gonna do something crazy and put somebody through. He may even go after Rollins and like throw a caution to the wind and put Rollins through a ladder, which knocks both of them out, and then LA Knight somehow sneaks in and wins.
He's high flying. He's high energy. He's everything he does is top turnbuckle. So I would be cool with him winning it too. Let me look up Andrade here. I'm not really familiar with who.
Is it Andrade?
Andrade? Am I saying that wrong? Oh yeah.
That was one of Charlotte. That's Charlotte Flair's latest.
Yeah. Okay. Nah, I don't want it. Him and Solo are nothings for me. So
the other thing too, I just thought about it. Solo's part of that whole bloodline thing, and he has his boy. I keep drawing a blank. He came back and helped him in the last pay-per-view, so he may sneak in and help take out some of these people. And Solo Sikoa. I'll say Solo Sikoa because of that. It's a dark horse.
Yeah, I would be so annoyed. So that's probably the way it's going to go because I leave annoyed with WWE hoping for my people to win and then they don't.
Yeah, so we got to keep that in the back of our heads too. So I would say he's a dark horse in this one for sure.
And then that TBD spot is interesting too. We'll see who ends up snagging that one. That a lot of times that's a sneaky one. At like the very end of Raw or SmackDown to get that last spot. A lot of times they love sliding somebody in there that comes running out of the back and pins somebody at the last second to end the show, and that's how they close it. So we'll see who ends up grabbing that last spot. But
I wouldn't be surprised if it's Joe Hendry.
You think so? You think they're ready to move him up?
Oh, I do. I would not be surprised if Joe Hendry showed up.
I could see that after getting a little bit of run with your boy.
Yeah, or RKO Randy Orton comes in it and wins Money in the Bank, and then he goes back after Cena and take the title back. So I love Money in the Bank. It's my second favorite pay-per-view behind Royal Rumble. just because of the chaos and everything that's going on, and it's a free for all in there, and people show up off the cuff, like you said. Some people can show up, run, take it, and leave. So it's number 2, close right behind Royal Rumble for me.
Yeah, I think this one's going to be very interesting. You got some good characters. You got a large clash of styles too. So, um, I think the card will be pretty interesting. I'm hoping it delivers. So, Saturday night main event was a total flop. So they need to reel me back in here, get some storylines going, get some juice flowing towards SummerSlam, because we're already only about 2 months out from SummerSlam. So by the time Money in the Bank hits, I think it'll be 2 months on the dot. So we'll see what happens. Gonna be a fun one. Pay-per-views are always fun. This is probably like the fifth biggest event on the calendar for them, something along those lines.
Yep.
So should be pretty good. We'll see what happens. We'll obviously be watching. Next, let's pivot to NBA. I had this one pretty well dialed come conference finals time. We had this one pretty well dialed in. So, Pacers beat the Knicks in 6, and the Thunder beat the Nuggets in 5. No, go ahead.
Yeah, I think the opening line was Oklahoma City minus 1,650 to win the title over the Pacers.
That just seems absurdly huge.
Oh man, I might still put a few dollars on that. The Pacers and Halliburton and that whole squad have been underdogs in every one of their series. And they have just calm, cool, collected, team ball, come out, played. Halliburton showed up when he's needed to. Man, they've taken out the Cavs, which was the number 1 seed in the East. They've taken out the Knicks, who took out the Celtics. And they took out the Bucks, who had Giannis and for Lillard come back for a hot second. I mean, they've taken out 3 legit teams in the East. It's not like they've had a cakewalk. I still think OKC has too much talent and also too much depth to not polish this off in some regards. But would I be absolutely surprised if the Pacers won this? Not at all. I just think they're a very good cohesive squad.
No, I agree. I would love to see this go 7 too. That's the other thing. Go really deep and grind. Because I feel like Oklahoma City really hasn't been pushed yet either. That's the other thing. So, this is going to be a homer take, but the Pacers, in my opinion, are, I guess you could flip it around the other way because the Pacers are the ones currently winning. The Pistons are built a lot like the Indiana Pacers, in my opinion. If you look at roster construction and the size and types of players that they have, like Halliburton, in my opinion, I don't think anybody would probably take him over Cade currently with the potential Cade has, but very similar style players, very long, just big style point guards. Miles Turner, in my opinion, very similar to, why am I blanking? Pistons center. Anyway, Siakam, very similar to Asar Thompson, in my opinion. Kind of Asar Thompson, maybe a blend between him and Tobias Harris. Mm-hmm. So,
I see that.
Like, just they're long everywhere, just like the Pistons are, and they play defense and they guard you hard, and they've got pretty decent shooting. And quite honestly, you just don't really want to play them. So, and I haven't hardly seen Oklahoma City play, to be honest. So I haven't watched a ton of their games. I know they get really hard into you defensively too. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't seem like they have quite the same length. SGA is going to be SGA. You know, you can count on him. He's going to slow the game down when he needs to. He's going to get his. He plays that very similar style to Brunson, where he's going to draw fouls. He's going to get into you. He's going to play at the free throw line. So we'll see how it shakes out. It might just come down to the fact that SGA is the best player on the floor, though. So we'll see.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, shout out to the Wolves. They gave it a shot. I was not expecting them to fall as flat as they did. I was a little disappointed in Ant for the way he blamed his lack of touches and the way he went about handling his business after the last 2 losses that they had. I feel like as the leader of that team, you should approach it differently and kind of take it on your shoulders instead of passing the buck. I think after that happened in the second to last game, that last game, it was already in the writing was already on the wall. He passed the buck, and the rest of the team felt that, and the wind was out of their sails, and they just got toasted. So, shout out to them. They're going to be around for a while. And then also to your other point, I think both the Pacers and Pistons are in for a very interesting offseason. I think they're both young and they're primed with talent, and I believe they're primed with a decent amount of picks that some of these free agents that are going to be on the move, whether it's Giannis or Durant or maybe even LeBron, potentially, highly doubtful, but it's possible that with some of those folks on the move and not completely happy with where they are, they're going to be players for some of those, and it's just going to enhance what they did this year.
Yeah, I agree. Jalen Duren was a Pistons center I was drawing a blank on. I sounded way too casual there. So, both the Pacers and the Pistons, I believe, come this offseason are going to have cap space too. So it's going to be interesting to see how they spend that, what they do with that available space, because neither one of them, obviously, they both have big contracts coming down the pipeline. Hallie's going to get paid, just like Cade's going to get paid. Cade is eligible for the Supermax now, which definitely changes the Pistons' plans. Like, you want him to have one All-NBA, but that changes what you can do financially going forward. So, right, wrong, or otherwise, that just is what it is. So, we'll see what ends up happening there. Going to be a very interesting offseason, though, once the dust settles on these finals. My initial prediction here for the finals, I want the Pacers to win, so I'm going to say Pacers in 7.
Yeah. Again, my heart says Pacers. My head says that the Thunder are going to take this, and we'll give it 6.
Okay.
We'll give it 6. We'll have the Pacers taking their 2 home games. But to your point, I really hope the Pacers. I'm going to be rooting for them.
I think they're just a way more fun team to watch play.
And I may put a little money on that line right now, just because that's a crazy line. I don't know if I've ever seen something that big in a finals before. A team being that big of an underdog, especially what the Pacers have brought to the table.
Yeah, both teams are playing well, so that's kind of absurd. Game 1 is Thursday, the 5th, so going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. I think I want the Pacers to win. Would not be surprised if the Thunder knock them out quick, though. So, because the Thunder rightfully have been the best team all year, so we'll see if that holds. They kind of they've cruised through the Western Conference in the playoffs here, so could be another quick get them and go here. We'll see what happens, but I want Indiana to win. Keep it in the Midwest. I think that'd be fun. It's a team that hasn't won it before. This is only their second finals appearance ever, which I think is kind of cool too. So, and then kind of wrapping things up on the sports front, it is Stanley Cup Finals time as well.
A little puck.
Little puck. We're a hockey podcast after all. Everybody knows us to be a hockey podcast. The Oilers are playing the Panthers, and this is a matchup from last year.
Yeah, I am Oilers all the way. I had told you on one previous episode, I said I was really rooting for the Maple Leafs to pull off that Game 7 because for some reason the Hurricanes cannot handle the Panthers, and that came to fruition. I think they 4-1, and they could have easily swept that thing. So those games were not even close. The Hurricanes didn't put up much of a fight at all, which is kind of sad to see. They've been solid over the last 5-6 years. They just haven't been able to get over that hump. And when they have a solid squad, they run into the Panthers, and then the Panthers just take them behind the woodshed, unfortunately. But this is going to be, I believe, a very good Stanley Cup Finals, and I'm going to try to catch the games where I can. not even just have it on the background. If I'm available to watch it, if I'm not doing something else, it's definitely going to be on, and I'm going to be invested in it. And like you said on a previous episode as well, McDavid, Draisaitl, those guys, I'm gonna be rooting for them in Edmonton to get the cup.
Yeah, this one might get me to tune in, and actually, I might download Max for this. I might pay $10 for the month to get Max just to watch this because I enjoy very much watching Connor McDavid play hockey. If you're out there and you're a hockey casual and you're kind of on the fence, tune into this. It's on TNT. It's on Max. All 7 games, potentially 7 games are on Max, however long the series goes. Connor McDavid plays at a different speed than everybody else. And I don't know how that is. I don't know why that is. I don't know why he's so substantially better than everybody else, but he plays a different version of hockey than everybody else on the ice. And it's so obvious. So, the fact that he's playing at a halfway decent time period relative to when I choose to go to bed on a nightly basis. All the games start at 8 p.m. Eastern. So going to be some early ones for the folks out west in Edmonton, but works perfectly for my schedule. So game 1 is Wednesday, the 4th at 8 p.m. So I think I'm going to tune into this one. I think I'm going to watch this one pretty closely too. I think this has exciting players. Florida has a lot of juice too. Big Matthew Tkachuk fan, especially after the Four Nations tournament. He's an absolute dog. So I would love him in a Red Wings jersey. So we'll see what this one brings. I'm going to go... I think this is the crowning moment for Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. I think eventually they're going to split ways, and the contracts are going to be too much for Edmonton to hold both of them. But I think this is when they finally get one. I think Edmonton in 6.
Edmonton in 6? I do like that. I am going to be rooting for the Oilers. I can't go against the Panthers, man. They're just too battle-tested. They're deep. Bobrovsky, I like their goalie. Good old Bob. I'm going to go Panthers in 7, just because I want to see this thing go 7. I feel like it's pretty much a coin toss. I feel like they both have deep rosters. They both have good superstars. To your point, I think Edmonton does have the top dog. So it'd be interesting to see where that is, and hopefully they don't fall short again. I just don't know how you bet against the Panthers, man. They've been there. They've done it. They've consistently done it. They continue to do it. So I'm going to go Panthers in 7, and we'll see who ends up coming out of this one. But I am very much looking forward to watching these games.
If it goes to a Game 7 in Stanley Cup Finals, that's absolute calamity.
Yeah, and you better take the day off the next day, because maybe we watch it and talk through it on one of the podcasts, because that'd be epic.
That would be absolutely electric. Sudden death hockey. Oh, I got chills just thinking about it. Like Game 7 of the Cup Finals. I don't know how many times that's happened in history, period, of the Stanley Cup Finals. But I mean, these two teams are meeting up for the second year in a row in the Stanley Cup Finals. So there's already going to be some bad blood. They know each other well. Game 7 would be outrageous. Yeah, holy moly!
Love Game 7s.
Game 7s
they don't tend to disappoint very often.
No, it's the one thing I will say that the NFL is missing. There's no way that the NFL can incorporate it. Quick pivot.
Just because of injuries and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you can't play series in the NFL. It just wouldn't work. But like that bad blood that gets fostered over the course of basically 2 weeks playing the same team, and you're just bashing each other's heads against the wall. Oh man, Game 7s are unlike anything else. So.
Oh yeah, and you don't forget. It doesn't seem like they forget what happens. Every second, every little hit, every little thing gets remembered, every penalty gets remembered, and something happens in the next game where somebody gets some retribution, which is always great to see.
Yep. And like you said, they don't disappoint very often because the teams are obviously very closely matched to have won 3 each to get to that point. And then you have what usually amounts to a very close game coming right down to the wire. So... Sure. Oh, man, if that went 7, I would be absolutely locked in. That would be all the way out. This feels weird to talk about. Game 7 wouldn't be until June 20th. That feels like a year from now. That feels like an eternity. So, 16 days long of series of hockey. That would be insane. So we'll see what the Cup finals bring. Either way, Stanley Cup final hockey is always really good. These guys will be absolutely juiced and hockey at its absolute best. So
Yeah, and it's always extra juice when you have a team from Canada in there too, which is kind of nice that you have an Edmonton team. Canadians tend to like their puck, so it's always and that arena that they play in is electric. Like, those
yep.
fans are. Everyone has an Oilers jersey. Everyone has a towel. It's pretty good to see. Happy for
There's
them.
nothing else going on in Edmonton
Oh no,
besides
super happy for them.
this.
Super happy for them, and I'd be ecstatic if they got that. If they ended up getting that cup.
So we'll see what happens there. Kind of the state of the state with sports right now. Only other thing I'll call out, another week has gone by, and the Tigers remain the number one team in Major League Baseball. Go Tigers.
Let's go. Tigers. The Phillies are slipping. They've dropped 2 in a row to the Brew Crew. They lost 17-5. Yesterday I think.
Woof.
17-5. Yeah, there were 3 games. Somebody posted there were 3 games of 17 or more runs. It was like 17, 19, and 21 runs in 3 different games.
So the Tigers Royals series went the complete opposite way. The last 2 games, today and yesterday, the teams combined for 2 total runs. So a flip flop of 1-0 wins. The Royals took yesterday, the Tigers took today. So hopefully the Tigers offense, it's been a little bit sluggish the last couple of days. They need it to perk back up. They got help coming though. So Parker Meadows is on the way. He's in Toledo right now getting some swings in. So he's going to provide some juice when he comes back up. So they got help coming. Fresh legs are on the way a little bit. So we'll see what ends up happening there. I'm trying to think if I got anything else. Anything else sports related you got?
One quick thing, Big Red, we forgot to talk about when we were talking about the NBA. I mentioned it before we jumped on the podcast. Watched Ernie Johnson sign off for the last time on TNT for the NBA on TNT. It was a very emotional moment for him. I could feel it. They're obviously staying together as a crew, and they're going to be broadcasting out of Atlanta, out of the studio, but they're moving over to ESPN and ABC, it seems pretty minuscule. But I think Ernie said it best that he will always bleed Turner, and that's who gave them a shot. That's who built them. That's who allowed that group of guys to come together. That seemed kind of like an oddball group with Kenny the Jet, Barkley and Shaq, and some of the stuff that was going on with them when they decided to start this show. They've had a lot of folks on there, obviously. Ernie's been the mainstay, but he's just a quality guy, quality dad. Some of the stuff he's gone through with children and just some of the charities he's helped out with, just a real stand-up guy, some of the health issues he's had himself. So wanted to give him a shout out and give them a shout out. NBA on TNT had their last sign off last night after the Knicks Pacers game. So just wishing them the best, and I know they're going to continue to knock it out of the park. It's going to be on ESPN and ABC, which they actually really need it. Their NBA coverage has been lacking, to say the least. So this is going to be a big boost for them. But just wanted to give them a shout out, give Ernie a shout out, and they are very, very good at what they do. So they're appreciated.
Yeah, the difference between the crew on TNT and what ESPN currently has going is night and day. I mean, you're talking Ernie, Shaq, Kenny, and Chuck, left to right. I don't even know who hosts the ESPN and NBA, but Kendrick Perkins is in the mix. Like, Perk is awful.
It was like Jalen Rose.
Who has a phenomenal fake hairline, by the way. Phenomenal fake hairline.
They had Stephen A. Smith on there. Sometimes they had Wilbon on there.
Greeny usually hosts, doesn't he?
Yeah, Greeny. It was just a hodgepodge of characters, which
yuck.
can't blame them. I mean, they were asked to do it, I guess, but they are not up to snuff or up to par of where the four guys you just mentioned on TNT were. So it'll be good that the fear was that Charles was going to retire and not want to do it. But I think they got together and Ernie pulled them together and said, "Hey, we need to keep this band together. We are provide a lot of in-depth NBA analysis on top of some comedy, on top of some back and forth between the panelists that the NBA and the fans need and want. So we just need to keep the train on the tracks. So kudos to them, because the big fear was that all four were just gonna kind of ride off into the sunset, and we weren't gonna have it at all. So
Yep.
it's kudos to everybody for ending up getting that done and keeping them on air, because they are very good for the league and they're very good for us as fans.
Yep, I would agree. The cohesion that those four have on air is unlike anything else. TNT really in general, I think, is pretty underrated with that. They have them doing NBA and their NHL coverage with Biz and Gretzky, and I forget the host name, and there's one other guy that's in the mix there. But they're also
PK
really good.
Subban.
Yeah. They're really good too. That they have a really good vibe going too. So TNT has done a really good job of assembling talent for both of those and their in-studio teams. So kudos to them for keeping the band together. A lot of times that just doesn't happen, like you said. So a really fun, good run coming to an end at Turner, which is unfortunate. It's sad that games won't be on there anymore. One thing you always miss as a fan is the channel jingles coming into each game. So the little musical ensemble before the game gets going, and as you drop into the coverage, Turner has a good one. I think they're bringing the NBC. I think the NBA is coming back to NBC, and they have a really good one too. So,
oh yeah, that's iconic. That's nostalgia, man. That brings you, once you hear that the NBA on NBC theme, it brings you back. So I mean, same as the Fox NFL one.
Yep.
You hear that and it just brings you back to the good times of watching football or watching basketball. And then there is a cool backstory, if you haven't heard it, of how the NBA on NBC theme started and how the guy's still getting paid royalties on it. So
I haven't heard that.
Yeah,
I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, you have to look it up. It's a pretty interesting story. I think they had him on the Levitard show last year at some point. So it's a pretty cool story that he had on how he got it and how he held it and is still making royalties on it. So.
The other one I really like that is pretty underrated is the NHL on ESPN. They have a really good one. That one brings me back to peak Red Wings and Avalanche matchups in the Western Conference Finals back in the day.
And Osgood and that whole thing.
Yes, Patrick Waugh, Joe Sakic.
Yeah, Shanahan.
Yep. There's so many good matchups.
A lot of, we had the old the console TV. We'd sit and even my mom and dad were watching it back then. Those are some great games, and that was an amazing matchup.
Yep, there were some really, really good ones, and they have a really good jingle.
Chelios.
So I'm glad they brought that. I'm glad that hockey's back on ESPN because they have such a good jingle, and that's such an underrated part of broadcasts. It just it brings you in, and it's like everything is starting. I love that build up. Like it's why Monday Night Football hasn't changed. It's because you hear the Monday Night Football song, and that's like come sit down and watch sports, and that brings everybody together. Like the thing is starting now.
Oh yeah.
So underrated aspect of sports. But I think that's kind of it with the state of the state for where we stand on things. The last thing we wanted to do, kind of a fun one here to wrap things up, our list for top 5 most underrated sci-fi movies. So we're going to start with our most or our favorite for underrated movies and kind of work in reverse. So fantasy draft style. I threw out the topic, so I'll let you have pick 1. Hopefully we don't overlap here. But I think this will be a fun one, kind of going back and forth here.
Definitely. I don't know if this one's necessarily underrated. I think it's at a lot of people's top of their list. But growing up, This trilogy was my favorite. Watched it on VHS multiple times on the weekend at my grandparents' house. Still watch it, own all three on Amazon Prime. Sometimes I'll throw it on at night and just kind of go to sleep with that in the background. But Back to the Future is, again, not necessarily that it's underrated, but hands down my all-time favorite. The order I always go in is 2, 3, and 1. So I appreciate the number 1 and I appreciate the 1955 and everything, but when they go into the future and then when they go way into the past to the Old West, I think 2, 3, 1 is always the order for me. But hands down, Back to the Future, my number 1. I'd pick that one any day of the week.
Ooh, I like that pick. Really good pick. My number 1, and this was the one that immediately came to mind for me. There was no hesitation. There was no doubt. I've watched this movie more times than I can count, and I could basically quote almost the whole thing end to end while watching it. 1, 2 for me in this instance, Zombieland. And it's not close. I love this movie. I think this movie is outrageously funny. I think Woody Harrelson is outlandishly funny in this movie, and he is perfectly cast.
Oh yeah, I love Woody. There's not a movie or show he's in that I'm not a big fan of. I do like that. So if you had to rank them, which one would you have first? 1 or 2?
1.
Yeah, that's a good call.
1.
You can't go wrong with the original on that one.
No, the first one, in my opinion, is better.
Especially when he's looking for Twinkies and then they get stolen.
Yeah,
that's the funniest part of that movie. They pull over to the side of the road.
Snowballs.
Yes, they're going through it. He's like, "Oh, so what is a Twinkie?"
It's the movie is outlandishly
Shout out
funny.
to Hostess.
Yep, such a good one. We won't go snake. We'll just go back and forth here. So you get third pick.
Yeah, one that I really like. That's this one I think is underrated. I think it was up for some awards, but Interstellar.
That's a good one.
Love that Interstellar with McConaughey, and you can't go wrong with that one. I have that one is on my playlist too. I watch that one at least once a month. Big fan.
I feel like that one, when it came out, it was very much in the normal day-to-day dialogue. It was a big deal when it came out, and it has since faded pretty quickly for whatever reason. And it's not talked about very much.
Yeah, it's. I think it's on Netflix. I think it's one of those ones that's going to be going away. But if you have never watched Interstellar, it is amazing movie. As McConaughey and Matt Damon. And I was never a Matt Damon fan, but he's grown on me a lot. He's on another one on my list here later on. Anne Hathaway, Jessica Chastain, just a really good thought out process movie. And just I'm all about space, so that works for me. It's right in my wheelhouse.
Second pick for me. This one might surprise you. I would be stunned if this was anywhere near your list, but this one is a big sleeper pick. League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Ooh.
I think vastly, in terms of like what we're actually going for with underrated, I think this is extremely underrated, and it's not a film that I think a lot of people probably have watched. It's fairly old now, actually. I think it's coming up on like 20-something years old, around 20-ish years old. Just a really good, interesting standalone movie, in my opinion.
Yeah. I've never seen it, so I just jotted it down.
Add that one to your list.
Adding it to the list.
It's a compilation of a bunch of old fairy tales, and it's a normal. It's not like cartoons or anything like that, but they bring a bunch of these characters together, and the plot is really, really interesting. They kind of make it like a one movie version of like Avengers, which is kind of interesting. So add that one to your list. In my opinion, very, very underrated. Super cool. Very well done. Get that one on one of these nights here in the next couple of nights when there's no hockey or basketball on. Add that one into the mix.
Definitely. I will add that. I will definitely add that in.
Can't recommend that one. I would give that one I would give it like an 8 or an 8.5, in my opinion. Pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
But very
My
underrated.
my next one is love this movie for some reason. Everybody always judges me hard for this. I am a big Tom Cruise fan, and War of the Worlds is always at the top of my playlist. 2005, Dakota Fanning, Tim Robbins, Tom Cruise. Big fan of Spielberg. Spielberg directed it, so you can't go wrong there. Kind of an interesting, goofy movie. It was a remake of a one that was made in like the 70s or maybe 80s. But that movie is always on. It's a nostalgia thing for me too, because the first time I watched it, I was in Michigan. Leaves were falling, weather was getting cool. It was in the fall, and every time it starts to get a little cool down here, plug in on a Saturday, gonna go hit the gym, and then I'm gonna plug in and watch War of the Worlds and open the windows. It's a weird little thing, but it's a nostalgia thing, and it's love it.
It's like a sensation thing, like it just you know it when it hits you type of thing.
Oh, definitely. As soon as you smell a little fall in the air, smell a little leaves, you get a little nip in the air, boom, More of the World is on for me. It's a weird thing, but classic. Love it.
Throw that one in on like a Wednesday during early football season or whatever.
Definitely.
When you don't have any football going on.
Yep.
I like that pick. Next one for me, we might not have any overlap here, which is kind of interesting. Next one for me, this one might surprise you too. World War Z.
Hey, I do like that. A little Brad Pitt.
Little Brad Pitt.
That is on my list.
I'm a big zombie fan. Any zombie movie, at least ones that are well done, I'm pretty interested in. Big fan of World War Z. I think Brad Pitt does pretty well in this one. I think it's just pretty well done, and the storyline is believable. Obviously, it's a zombie movie, it's sci-fi, whatever. But I think they do a good job of buttoning it up fairly well. It's Brad Pitt. He's good. I'm a big Brad Pitt fan. I think it's just good quality flick. It's not overly gory, not overly like I'm not that I get like super scared or anything, but I'm not into horror movies or anything like that, and it's not like that. So, this is another one that it's on TV, like you said, all the time, and it's like one of those where you can just throw it on there for 20 minutes or whatever while you're scrolling until the next commercial break, and like you know exactly where it's at when you throw it on. Just a good flick.
Definitely, and this one's not on my list, but it reminded me of that is I Am Legend.
Very good one. That one was
Will Smith. I love big Will Smith. A big Will Smith fan. Actor, rapper, singer. Great one. I just can't do when the dog turns into a zombie. I lose it.
Oh, so that's heartbreaking.
Fast forward through that, my friend. Other than that, great movie.
Yep. That one's further down my list. We probably won't need to get to that one. I added a bunch of I went beyond 5 just in case we had overlap, but that one was further down on my list.
Nice. Where are we at? 4?
Yeah, your 4th pick.
The Martian. Mentioned Matt Damon earlier. That one was on sale on Amazon Prime. I still believe it is. If you want to catch it this week, hit up Amazon Prime and order it. I think it's $2.99 or a $3.99 movie right now. Normally $14.99, so you can get a good savings on that. Jessica Chastain's in that one as well. Maybe I'm just a big fan of hers, but Matt Damon, I love those movies where you're in space, all odds are against you, you're by yourself, very few actors and actresses in the movie. Just very, very well done. I watched that twice in the last week since I bought it. Great movie. He does a very good job. Like I said, I was never a huge Matt Damon fan, but this one is kind of turned me back on to give him more of a chance. So The Martian for me is on my number 4 on my list.
Are you not a fan of the Bourne series?
I have never watched it. I was always anti-Matt Damon. I was always anti-Matt Damon. I don't know. He just always irked me.
You just didn't like the vibe?
No, he just irked me, man. So I'll
give those a shot.
I will give those a shot. I'll add that to my list as well, the Bourne series.
Do you like... I've never heard you talk about it before. What's your stance on Bond?
Not a huge Bond fan.
Okay, it's different than that. So just because you don't like it doesn't mean I would write it off necessarily, but it is a little bit it's obviously espionage ish.
Mm-hmm.
So um, I would say it's Bond adjacent.
Gotcha.
So I love those. I'm obviously a diehard Bond fan. So um, diehard Daniel Craig fan. Oh my gosh, Daniel Craig is just he's 10 out of 10 for me. One of my favorite actors of all time.
Yeah, to that point, I am giving The Matrix a chance. So I've been watching those, and I am trying to get on board with the Mission Impossibles. I know there's a ton of them, but I am slowly going to go through those as well, and hopefully by that time, the one that just came out will be on Amazon Prime and not in theaters. So I'll add that to my list as well, my friend. Appreciate it.
We might take some serious flack. I don't know how many you've seen. I don't think I've seen any of the Matrix movies from beginning to end myself, and I know that's probably fairly hot. I'm okay with taking heat on that one. Shout us out in the comments if you think that we need to watch all those. I haven't seen any of those from beginning to end. I've seen probably parts of all of them because they're on TV so often. And that's another one that my dad would have like stopped because I think my dad's seen all of those at one point or another.
Yeah.
And my dad would have watched them for a little bit. I kind of know the plot from all of them from just kind of sponging them up a little bit, but I haven't seen any of those from beginning to end. But this discussion, and like as I was looking back, because I was compiling my list and I went through a bunch of different years to see what the best movies were, and I've realized even though I like generally the sci-fi genre, there's so many movies that I like haven't seen, I haven't watched that were big time movies.
Yeah.
So I'll put the Matrix in my mix. I've seen a decent chunk of the Mission Impossibles. I haven't seen all of them. So that's on my list too because it's supposed to be his last one that's coming out this year, right?
Yep.
So I'll add that into my resolve here too. We'll add that in. Brittany and I will watch more of these sci-fi movies here in the coming weeks. We'll start doing maybe a once a week movie night or something like that. I think that'd be fun. But so that it's my fourth, right? That's where we're at.
Yeah, correct.
We'll throw it back to your boy here. This might be a swipe. I, Robot.
Ooh, very good movie. Will Smith.
This
Love
one
that.
might not be underrated because this one's on all the time. I don't know if this one qualifies as underrated, but I really like this movie.
Very good movie. Very good movie. And with the times we're in now and AI and robotics and everything, it's
Tesla making robots and everything that look like the iRobot robots.
Definitely. It may have been before its time and could be potentially scary if some of that happens, but it's a great flick. It's a good call.
He's kind of driving what looks like Tesla-ish cars
I know.
too. Like it's kind of weird, man. It's kind of weird.
It is.
It's a little bit funny.
Is this where we're going?
So
Definitely.
he's sitting there driving, and like they're bringing the whole delivery of the robots, and then they all jump out and attack him, and he's got to
then
go.
They circle up in that tunnel.
I'd have to go back and watch. Does he have? I'm gonna have to look it up now once we're done. I feel like the car that he's driving has a yoke, like the new Teslas. I feel like it has a yoke like that. Maybe that's where Tesla got it. Maybe that's where Elon took it from. But I feel like that Audi that he's driving has a yoke instead of a full steering wheel.
It does, and it has like something disappears and it self drives, and then you can drive it, and the yoke
like
pops out. Yeah,
like jolts out to him.
Correct. Yep. I think you're right.
That I would not be surprised if that's where Elon got or his design team got the inspo from. But shout out Audi because that's a sick looking car. But it's cool that they put the Audi badge on it too. I wonder how much they paid for that in the movie or who had the connection there. Yeah. But again, that one might not necessarily fit our underrated criteria because that one I think is on basically every single weekend somewhere. Yeah. So, but I'm claiming that one. So your fifth and final here.
Fifth and final. I don't know how many people have heard of this. It seems like it's a pretty decently popular one. I'm not sure if you even heard of it. My number 5 is Prometheus.
Ooh, I have heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
Very, very good movie. I have that one as well. Own it. Watch it quite frequently. It's a kind of an odd movie. More to do with aliens and going back to when things were created and the creator and everything. So it's just puts a very interesting spin on it, and it kind of starts a little slow but has a huge build up. In the end is just it. It's really good. So if you haven't watched Prometheus and you're big into sci-fi, big into space, big into aliens and kind of conspiracy stuff, Prometheus should be at the top of your list. It will not disappoint.
I'll add that to my queue. We'll get that one fired up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What do you got at 5, Big Red?
My fifth, I have a decent chunk of my list sitting here still, so I'm going to have to grab one of them. I'm going to go Pacific Rim as the fifth.
Ooh, I do have that one on my list actually. I bought that movie on, but I have not watched it yet. That is going. It seems like it's similar to Halo. Is that the right one?
Yeah, it's similar to Halo. It's got Godzilla vibes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I would say it's probably a mix between Halo, Transformers, and Godzilla, all merged together, all in one.
Three really good ones.
Yeah, and
maybe I'll put that on tonight after we get off the pod.
It might be Michael, what's his name? That's the producer or director or whatever it's called. Who's the big explosions guy? That's
yeah,
I'm looking it up now.
Does, just look up Transformers. Michael.
Yeah.
Michael. I know who you're talking about.
Michael Bay.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's a good call. He does a lot of solid stuff. He has a lot of good CGI.
Yeah, he's not involved in it. I just looked it up, but it feels very Michael Bay-ish. A lot of explosions, a lot of big to do. The thing that always was most memorable from Pacific Rim for me was the soundtrack, epic soundtrack. So once you watch the movie, the soundtrack will stick with you forever. Ba-da-dun, da-da-dun. Like, it's just the soundtrack it sets the stage for everything. They did a really good job with that. Acting is pretty mid, but yeah, I think that one's a kind of an underrated one. Is it the greatest movie ever? Absolutely not. I wouldn't pitch it as the greatest movie ever, but I did like it. It was enjoyable. There's a video game that came out probably 10 years ago now. I forget what it was called, but it was very similar to Pacific Rim, where you're jumping into these big mechs and flying around all over the place. So, obviously, like, big mechs, big explosions, going after monsters, all that stuff's always fun. That always plays.
Would like, and this was one that was going to be on my list, and maybe you've watched it, another Tom Cruise movie, to your point about mechs and that kind of stuff, is Day After Tomorrow? I believe it is. You should check that one out. I just bought that one as well. I'm a big fan of, if I like movies, obviously, I buy them. Especially I just keep a watch list, and when Amazon has them on sale or whatever for $2.99 or $3.99. But kind of an odd movie to start. But if seems like you're into that, I would definitely check that one out. It's a solid flick.
Okay. All right, I'll add that one to the list too.
No, it's called Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow. Okay, I did see that one when I was scrolling through. I'll add that one to the list.
Yeah, Edge of Tomorrow. Very good movie. That's what it's called. I think the other one is about the end of where the world starts flooding and that kind of stuff. Day After Tomorrow. That's another good one.
The thing that stood out to me the most, I didn't even start going into, I didn't go into 2020 or beyond or anything like that when I was looking back. But the last handful of years, I have become not a huge movie guy, and I've realized that there's been some good ones that have bypassed me that I would enjoy watching. We don't really go out to the movies hardly ever. Obviously, having a kid plays a decent role in that, and date nights and finding the time and everything like that. But just the last handful of years, I feel like movies have, I don't know if you felt the same way, movies have kind of just been, there hasn't been anything that's blowing my socks off. There's a few this year that might actually get me out to go watch. I'm very excited for the reviews of Superman. I think that one's got potential. Even though it's obviously a reboot, there's a bajillion Superman movies. This one looks absolutely epic. I think it's gonna really reinstill more of this like pro-America vibe that we've got going on right now, which I think is cool. So I think that'll be cool. And then Mission Impossible, like we said, that one coming up. I think that one will be.
2 was really good. I saw that.
Yeah, you were
week.
saying that
so
last
good.
week. I need to watch the first one.
Yes, you definitely do. You would love it.
Okay, I'll add that one to the list too. So, but yeah, I think that was kind of a fun little mix-up. Something a little bit different. We don't really hit on movies hardly at all. We're not necessarily huge movie buffs, but I think we both got a couple good takeaways. League of Extraordinary Gentlemen for you. And I got Prometheus was probably my number one recommendation.
Oh yeah, Prometheus, and then Day After Tomorrow or
Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow. Yep.
There was a few others that I grabbed just from watching that I was like, I apparently need to watch that. Matrix was up there, so I might dive into those, and then like you said, going into all the Mission Impossibles. So, the other one, this is definitely not a go see in theaters because you'd get flooded with kids just not paying attention and being noisy. But I am somewhat interested in the How to Train Your Dragon live I forget, like the CGI remake. Mm-hmm. So I'm a big fan. It's kind of a nerdy kids series, but How to Train Your Dragon is fun to me. I've always liked those ones. There's like 4 or 5 of them now, but I'm a big fan of those. So
that's a good call.
Nerds are gonna nerd. Dragons are just cool. Who doesn't like dragons?
Exactly.
So, but I think that's kind of gonna put a bow on things, huh? I think we're kind of talked out here on a Sunday night. We're a little light on overall sports the last night and a half, maybe since NBA and NHL are kind of in a pause here. Oh, only other thing, Scotty Scheffler won the Memorial. A real quick golf podcast here. Second in a row. So Scotty keeps rolling. He's the best golfer in the world. So shout out him. U.S. Open's coming up in 2 weeks. So he's going to be the betting favorite again.
Yep, and like a little teaser, we got something special hopefully planned and lined up for that week.
Yeah, hopefully that comes together for us. We'll be working on that this week to try and get that lined up. Mm-hmm. Some fun content there, more stories to be told.
Really good heading into that tournament.
Yep. So we got some fun stuff coming. We got some people that want to be on that we're going to talk to. It's just lining up times and making sure that the schedules iron out. So we got some good things in the works here. So stay tuned. Interviews are going to be coming fast and furious is what we hope. We really love the interviews. So
definitely, we're going to kick that up a notch, and it's going to be really good. So excited to bring some folks on and get their ideas, get their thoughts, get their backstory, get some stuff that's on their mind, get them out of their comfort zone, and just come on and have a good time with us, and hopefully you enjoy it. I'm sure you will.
Yep, absolutely.
But with that, Big Red, episode 9, still have not spilled the Mixie, 9 for 9.
9 for 9.
It has been a pleasure, my friend. Again, thank you to all the listeners out there. You are very, very much appreciated. Feedback's appreciated. Leave some comments if you agree with us, don't agree with us, have some other things that we should be thinking about when we talk about these things and some of these topics. So cheers, my friend. Didn't spill the Mixie. Until next week in episode 10, goodbye, everybody.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.